But what Paul is saying here is we now serve a new life of the Spirit. That our efforts to serve God aren't motivated by fear. They're not motivated by obligation. But our efforts to serve God are motivated out of love. I remember as a young teenage boy, not too much older than my friend here, that my efforts at personal cleanliness were not very good. You know, you're a teenage boy and you smell and everyone knows it but you, and these sorts of things. And so my mom began to put rules in place. And she began to say, you get up there and take a shower. You get up there and get clean. She put rules in place. In our family, we will shower at least once a week. These sorts of rules that she cast for me. And I wasn't very good at keeping those particular rules. I didn't get it. I just took a shower a month ago. I don't understand, Mom. I'm fine. But you introduce a young lady into the equation. I got some amens. You introduce a young lady into the equation, and suddenly you're motivated to take those showers and to comb your hair and to dress appropriately and all these sorts of things. There was a great motivation to be clean. The motivation toward love, as opposed to the motivation of rules and regulations. The love prompted me to move forward. Paul, writing in the book of Galatians, he said this. He said, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. You see, a list of rules don't work. A list of rules always comes up short. And Paul is saying here, you've been released from a list of rules and obligation and fear as a motivator. Now we hear that, and especially if we're parents, we begin to think, I don't know, this is dangerous. If my kids start hearing this sort of a message, they're going to go crazy. We think as Christians, older Christians maybe, if young Christians, new believers, they begin to hear this message that it's not about following a bunch of rules, they're going to go crazy, they're going to go wild. I said earlier, a couple of weeks back, this idea, dangerous grace. That if people don't have a list of rules to follow, then they're going to go crazy and start all sorts of sinning. And I think Paul would respond to that, and he would say, no, that's not what it means. Paul would say grace is a far more effective motivator than a list of rules could ever be. Just like my situation there with the shower. Love is a much more greater motivator.